Hello, welcome to this knitting episode number 6. I'm Monique Amy. I'm an illustrator based in Boston, and I have a deep love of the fiber arts, so I share a lot of that on this channel. Today's kind of just like a regular knitting podcast episode. So let's jump into it. I'm going to start with my finished objects. The first is the Frankie sweater, which I have right here. This is a petite knit pattern. I'm going to just look at my notes here. So it's like a raglan stripe sweater with basically a rolled neckline and like hem finishes. It's a pretty straightforward design and I love it. Really happy with how this came out. I've already worn it quite a few times considering the weather's now too warm. It's meant to be knit with DK weight yarn. I am knitting this not quite on gauge. My gauge was actually a little bit small, so I cast on a size large, whereas normally I would probably be more of a medium. But yeah, my gauge was small by about 1/4 of an inch. So I'm happy with that adjustment. I think this fits really well. And the yarn I used was a bit off gauge. So the two colors I used are both Jagger spun yarn. If you've watched my videos before, you know I'm obsessed with going to Martin's in Maine, and I've gotten a lot of very heavily discounted yarn from specifically the brand Jagger spun, which is discontinued. So that's what this yarn is. So not really easy to find. But the blue, I believe, was Aran weight, so it's a little bit thick. And then this is actually like a very dark maroon for the stripes. That is actually a sock yarn held double, which worked out fine. I think, you know, it's a bit of a strange combo, but it really looks seamless. You can't tell that I did that. Yeah, very wearable. I love these colors together. I've been really into blue lately, especially blue and brown, which this almost is. Yeah, I was a little bit nervous before blocking because I felt like this like rolled neckline kind of was pushing on my neck. Since blocking, it's gotten better. It does do that a little bit. I do find myself pushing it down. Someone commented on one of my previous videos that yes, there's German short rows for like neck shaping, but it doesn't change the fact that there is like a funnel neckline sort of happening on this. So it makes sense. I've been wearing it and it's been totally fine. This yarn also, oh yeah, so this is superwash yarn, but it feels like cotton. It really is very breathable and nice to wear. So yeah, very excited about this first finished object. My next finished object is a test knit for Knit Diet. That's the Instagram handle. And the designer. So this is the Estrella sweater. This is a beautiful raglan sweater and it has these star motifs along all the panels, front, back, and then along the sleeves. And the star pattern is just moss stitch, I believe. So it's just knits and purls to kind of create that design. I also will say this type of raglan increase line is different than I've previously done it, like compared to this one. So this kind of creates like a chain look, which I think pairs really nice with the stars. And I don't know, it makes me think of like a medieval type of look. I don't know, but it just was different. I feel like when I knit, I enjoy finding new things. So that was cool. I knit a size medium and the yarn I'm using is Barocco Ultra Alpaca. And I used, I believe, 5.5 skeins. So I'm glad I purchased 6 skeins for this project because I did need them all. Oh yeah, and the colorway is Moon Shadow. It's just like a heather gray. I will say I think maybe the heather makes the stars not as visible as I was hoping for, but they're still noticeable enough. It's meant to be a subtle design, so it doesn't really matter. I also really like the neckline. It's 2x2 ribbing, and then same for the sleeve cuffs, 2x2. And then this is my first time doing a split hem. The hem does not have the 2x2 ribbing. It's actually more of the moss stitch detailing, which ties in nicely to the stars. And I like the split hem. I wasn't sure how I would feel about it, but it is written in the pattern you have the option to do a regular 2x2 ribbed hem, or you could do the split hem, and I wanted to try it, so I'm glad I did. I think it came out quite nice. I was also nervous before blocking that this would maybe be too fitted, but it's perfect. I love the fit of this. It grew really nicely. It is a more fitted sweater compared to my like super oversized sweaters I tend to go for, but I think it's nice, and like I just feel like it fits perfectly along the armpit area. You know, it's like not too far down, it's not too far into my armpit. It's like sits quite nicely. So that's good. Some more details about this project, because again, this is a test knit. This pattern is being released, I believe, this month, May, but it's not out quite yet. The recommended yarn is Alpaca Wool by Sandus Garn on 3.5 millimeter needles, which is quite small because I believe that is, oh yeah, that's worsted weight. So worsted weight on 3.5 millimeter needles. It's like very tight gauge. So I mean, it is a thick fabric, but I think the alpaca makes it a little bit more breathable and like can still drape quite nicely, because yeah, alpaca tends to drape a lot more than wool. The designer did make some notes in the pattern about the yarn weight, because I think depending what you want the sweater to fit like, you can choose yarn based. There's some wiggle room basically with the yarn you can use. She explains basically the different weights you can use. So like DK, you could technically use sport weight yarn, and it just varies depending on the size needles you use. There's a lot of variables. So it is a fairly flexible pattern, and I would, if you do knit this, I would take the time to do the gauge swatches, get it right. I did multiple gauge swatches and I changed my yarn multiple times until I figured out what would work best for me. That's what I'll say about that. I was really happy with this yarn. I purchased this yarn for this project, but then I did end up sizing down my needles to hit gauge because it is very tight. So I ended up knitting this on 3 millimeter needles. And it took me over 2 months of pretty much monogamous knitting, which I haven't done in a while. I realized I started knitting as a monogamous knitter, and then I have definitely switched to more of a chaotic knitter. And yeah, I was getting a little bit tired of this at the end, but very happy to have the final product just in time for warm weather. I will be very happy to have this in my wardrobe. It's going to be such a staple, and the fit is fantastic. So I highly recommend this pattern. I think it's going to be a hit. So this is everything I finished that is a knitting project, but I do have some sewing things as well. The first being this sardine. So this is a pattern by Woolly Petals. It's called the Sardine Pillow. Skill level says it's an advanced beginner. That sounds right to me. And it comes in 2 sizes. So there's a 36 inch or a 24 inch. This is the 24 inch. So it can be even bigger than this, which is crazy. I just wanted a really fun scrap busting project. I did fill this with scrap fabric, so it's like quite heavy. It's lumpy. This fabric is a little bit see-through, so you can kind of see all the fabric inside. It reminds me of those like fish in aquariums, the little like tiny see-through fish. You know what I'm talking about? They're like blue and red and see-through. Anyways, reminds me of that. I love this thing. I will be making more. It's hilarious. I keep it on my couch usually, but I'll definitely be making more. This would be an awesome thing to make for someone. Like, why wouldn't you want this? But yeah, so the fabric I used to sew this was mostly scraps. I did, because I'm a chain stitcher and I have a chain stitch embroidery machine, I did chain stitch the eyes, but in the pattern it just uses felt. But you know, you can have fun with it. You can do whatever you want. This pattern was really great because there's a whole very in-depth YouTube video to go with it. It's just really helpful. I would say I'm probably still a beginner, I guess maybe advanced beginner sewist, so I appreciate being able to see exactly what I'm supposed to do. Let me know if you also make a sardine fish. I would love to see it. The last finished object I have are these bob pants. This is a pant pattern by Style Arc, and it's kind of like the barrel style. I have made these once before with linen, and I do wear those, but I think the linen is maybe too drapey. It kind of looks like PJs. And then I also found, for me, I'm short, I'm 5'1", the pockets sit really low on my thigh. Like, they're like almost hitting my knee. So I remembered that from the last time I sewed this pattern, so I adjusted it this time, and I still had the printed pattern cut out. Anyways, I think it was an improvement. They are wrinkly because they've been sitting in my studio because I actually need to fix. Basically, I threw them in the wash and one of the seams kind of got a little bit loose, so I have to fix that. I do think I might need to invest in a serger soon so that I don't have to do the zigzag stitch, because I think that's just also not as good as using a serger to finish your seams. You know, I've made it work so far. And also, like, it just looks messy. So yeah, I might be in the market for a serger. But this fabric, I actually thrifted, I think at like a Savers or something within the last year or so. I really like it because it's just like a navy blue, and it has these like panels, has this grid texture. So it kind of looks like quilted pants, but it's not. It's much thinner than if you actually had quilted pants. So yeah, I love them. The pockets are much better. I did wear them a bunch until I realized that I need to do a quick mend. Oh yeah, it's right here on the seat. So yeah, I just need to mend that, and then these will be back in action. It also was so cold here for so long that like even these didn't feel warm enough. So now that the weather's finally warm, I am looking forward to wearing these again. Yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about that. And then to transition into whips, I have a top in matching fabric. So after I sewed that, I had plenty of extra fabric because again, this was like a bed sheet. So it was quite a lot. So I asked on Instagram, which my Instagram for like this type of stuff is Monits. My Instagram for illustration is @MoniqueAmy. But yeah, so on my more crafty Instagram, I asked what would be a good top to pair with these bob pants. So multiple people suggested the poppy top. So I have most of it here. So this is a pattern by Summer House. House is Haus. And yeah, it's called the poppy top. It's basically a tank top, but what is really cool about it is on the sides, you only sew a little bit, and there's some overlap that happens. So it's like you end up having like quite an open side slit on either side. I did this a while ago, so I am gonna have to get back to this pattern and think about it. But I think I stopped, or I lost steam, because I'm now at the part where like I have to do all the bias edging, bias border, I have to make bias tape. That sounds right. I hate doing that. So I just sort of stopped, but I need to finish this, so I'll just have to do that. But yeah, the pattern has been very straightforward. I think it will fit nicely. I don't see any issues with that. I hope it's good, because I would totally make more. It's a very cute style of pattern. Okay, let's go back into knitting. After I cast off the Estrella sweater, I pretty much immediately cast on a summer top, because I was like, it's time. It's time. I have this little bit. This is all I got. This is the Sailor Swift top by Veronica Lindberg, or Kutavakika. She's a great YouTuber. Yeah, I really like watching her YouTube videos. I actually knit this already once before. So I knit this maybe 2 summers ago, and I do wear it, but it's slightly too small. And I knit it with Knitting for Olive pure silk. And then the stripes were Australian yarn that has possum fiber in it, which is itchy. so slightly itchy. And then the pure silk there's no give. It doesn't stretch at all. So with it being slightly small, it's like I can put it on, but it's like I'm like a sausage. So like I have worn it, but it's just like not quite the fit I want. So I got this yarn. This is Sandisgarn Mandarin Petite, which is just like a fingering weight cotton yarn. It feels so lovely. And I have it in white, and then this kind of like chartreuse yellow green. Love this color. I don't think this color is very flattering on me because it makes me look extra pink and red, but I think with the white, it's like, it's fine. It's gonna be fine. I'm knitting this a size larger than I did last time, which unfortunately also last time I knit this was like earlier in my knitting journey, so I wasn't really keeping good notes. I wasn't using Ravelry at the time, but I figured out what size I did because I pretty much follow patterns by opening up the PDF in like Acrobat or whatever, and then I will highlight as I go the information I need, and then I will save it. So I opened up the pattern again, and I still had like all the things I had highlighted, so I could tell I had previously knit a size medium. So this time I'm doing a size large. Am I doing a gauge swatch this time? No. Could I measure now? This is essentially a gauge swatch. I didn't do that. And I don't feel like it, which is bad, but it's feeling better already. It's fine. I think it'll be fine. So I went to my local secondhand art supply store, which is Make and Mend here in Somerville, and I found this yarn. This way. Sardine is not really a super accessible brand to me. Like, I'm sure I can buy it online, no problem, but I never see it in store. And I definitely prefer to buy yarn in store so I can touch it. I was so excited to see this at Make and Mend. These colors stood out to me. I got 4 of each. I didn't know exactly what I would make, but I was hoping that maybe together that would be enough for something. I just knew I would figure something out, and I did. And I'm gonna have extra. I potentially could have done this all in white, but I might be playing yarn chicken if I do that. I am doing the striped version. Oh yeah, and also these are the old labels, so that's kind of fun to see. So also with knitting, I did a couple swatches, and they look very similar, but it would be for 2 different projects. So I'll talk about this one first. This one's like quite drapey. This is Kelburn Woolens, which is gifted yarn. Thank you, Kelburn Woolens. I knit this with Cricket in navy, which is like a Donegal sport weight yarn. And then the mohair is Harmony in the color Cobalt. Wow, I just pulled that all out of my brain. My plan is to knit the Norma sweater again. I already knit it once before. I would like to knit it no stripes, just solid, and come up with some sort of duplicate stitch motif to like some sort of design in the center. I think that would look really nice. This is on gauge, so I'm good to go, but this is mohair and like quite woolly, so this is on pause until the end of summer probably, as I start thinking about fall. Happy I did the swatch. I will maybe test duplicate stitching on this because I've never done duplicate stitching with mohair, so I'm curious to see how that works out. So I guess that will be my next test I do. This, I'm thinking of knitting the Hanny cardigan, Hanni, by Knitters and Friends. I've done a couple swatches for this cardigan, but I'm trying to use yarn I have, so I'm kind of doing some weird stuff. But yeah, this is Jagger spun again. So for this, I'm holding one strand of like a sport weight color, so brown, and then another sport weight blue. But yeah, I held this together, and this is pretty much on gauge. It is very thick and woolly. So again, right now, the idea of knitting this is not what I want to be doing. I'm glad I did the swatch, but I am going to put this on hold as I experience the summer. I don't really want to be touching a bunch of woolen mohair. But yeah, this, like, I don't think this would feel nice next to skin, but I think the idea behind this cardigan is it's like, I want to make a very thick, chunky, Baba style cardigan. So I think I would wear it as more of a jacket. Like, I don't think I would wear it next to skin. So yeah, I might end up knitting that at some point in the future. But for now, I do have this nice gauge swatch, and I'm ready to go at some point if it feels like something I want to make. Those are my 2 swatches. The Hanny cardigan is just like a really chunky button-down cardigan. I think it's like 2x2 ribbing or 3x3. I can't really tell, but like a nice thick ribbed neckline and cuffs, and it's got more of like a boxy look. So I think I would really like wearing it. It calls for DK and lace, which gives you like a DK weight, and then I'm doing sport and sport, but somehow my gauge is still like slightly small. I think I'm a bit of a tight knitter. I don't really know. I don't know what I am. So anyways, that might happen in the future. Okay, I think those are all my whips. So let's move on to acquisitions. I didn't get too much since the last time we spoke, I think. And I'm not going to talk too much about what I did get because in my last more vlog style video, I already shared this haul. But let me just quickly tell you. I went on a road trip to Syracuse, New York, and I was a guest lecturer at the art school there. And then on my way back, I just like found some different places to stop at. I also spent some time in Connecticut, and I went to the Connecticut Sheep and Wool Festival, but I really didn't get much of anything. So anyways, on that trip, I did get some latch hooks, some very small ones, and then these like double-sided latch hooks, which I think will be very useful for weaving in ends. So that's why I got those. Let's see. I got these amazing pamphlets, I guess, little zines. So it's called Weavings of New England. And I got summer of 1989 and winter of 1988. And it's just basically news about fiber arts in New England. It's amazing. So I want to spend some time diving into these. And then I got this book. So this is Creative Art Crafts. This is just full of craft ideas, and I think I just also really love like I love the technical illustrations and diagrams that are in here. So again, I'm excited to spend some time with this book. But yeah, I picked that up as well. And then also this cross stitch book, just for inspiration. So yeah, this is just full of cross stitch patterns, specifically for like more like all over motifs, like for linens and tablecloths. That's kind of what this book is all about. So again, another fun one to just have in my collection. The only thing I got at the Connecticut Sheep and Wool Festival was this teeny tiny vase, and it just has a little sheep on it, and it says sheep fluff. It's so cute. So I had to get that. Just something fun. And then lastly, I have this little bit of yarn. I went to see my friend Brooke, and she actually spun this herself, but she's not a knitter. So I offered to knit her something. Again, I mentioned this in my last video, so I'm trying to speed along here. I think if you want more details about all these things, I would watch my previous vlog. But basically, I do want to knit Brooke something with this. It is a very small amount, so if you have any pattern ideas, please let me know. So yeah, that's all I have for acquisitions. Nothing too crazy. I do want to talk about books. Oh my god. So I was in a reading slump a long time ago. By a long time ago, I mean a month, or maybe just over a month. I've been reading some good books. The first was Wild Dark Shore. Oh my god. 5 stars. That is on my favorites shelf. I use Storygraph to track what I read. That I put on my favorites. Amazing. I don't have the physical copy. Most of these I don't have the physical copy of because I use Libby a lot. So yeah, basically there's this family on this island. They're Australian, and they live there. It's extremely remote. They're protecting the seed bank. They don't have a lot of resources. And then, yeah, this woman washes ashore, and you kind of see what happens. I don't want to say anything else, but it was extremely emotional and beautiful, and also a bit of a thriller vibe. Like, it was kind of stressful and scary sometimes to be like, oh my God, what is going to happen? I also like, who's the bad guy? I can't tell. That's kind of fun. I like that in a book. It didn't expect anything to happen that happened, which again, that's impressive. I feel like I'm pretty good at predicting thrillers and things like that. It was amazing. I loved it. Highly recommend. Oh my God. And if you have recommendations for me based off of my love for that book, please do share. I read Hemlock and Silver as well. That's by T. Kingfisher. That's kind of like a Snow White retelling. and it's, you know, kind of like fantasy, magical. I could tell it was a Snow White retelling, and that was pretty fun. Otherwise, it was just okay. I think maybe I'm not as into fantasy and like magic world building as I used to be, or at least not this season in life. I did read a few others, but I'm going to jump ahead to what I'm currently reading because I'm really excited about it, and I will probably finish it very quickly. It's this book. I went and bought the physical copy because I was really excited. So this is Make Believe by Mac Barnett, and he's a children's book illustrator, or not illustrator, but he's written a ton of children's books. I love his take on children's books. I collect picture books. I'm an adult who collects picture books. I think they're awesome and inspiring. I am also an illustrator, so, you know, makes sense that I do that. But I also think any adult could do that. I really like his take because he's essentially saying children's books should treat children as people. They are people. You should not be looking down to them or trying to tell them what to do within writing, within these books. So like, I think he calls it like adult propaganda. Like that should not be in children's books, like telling kids what to do or how to think. I won't talk too much about that, but so far I have found it very inspiring and it makes total sense to me. I also love the cover. The cover's by Carson Ellis. Big fan of her artwork. So it's just like, oh, what a good size book. So nice. And he's so funny. Oh my God. I'm also just enjoying the writing for that reason. I'll just read this. What if children are a great audience for art? What if they are in fact better equipped to engage deeply with stories than adults? What if humans' ability to appreciate art is, if not innate, awakened early in childhood? Well, then we'd better do our best to make some good kids' books. It says, written with humor and intellectual rigor, Make Believe reads like a letter from your smartest and funniest friend. I think that's true. I'm having a really great time with just like the way he explains things. So if that's of interest to you, I do recommend this book. Wow, okay, I think we made it. Oh wait, I got a new hat. I chain stitch hats if you're not aware. So I have a bunch of like, my most popular one is my knitter hat. I also have crocheter, crafter. Sometimes I just do little illustrations. So I added this colorway and I have this little tulip flower, and this is live in my shop now. If you're interested in a chain stitch hat, it is the season, you know. Need some sun protection. Okay, but for real, I think we finally made it. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to hear from you. Are you making any of these patterns? Have you already made any of these patterns? What have you been working on while watching this video? I look forward to hearing from you. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.